bloomed even more. It was absolutely incredible how quickly it grew. We were hiring at least one person a quarter. We are an independent bookkeeping business. We, specifically tailor the books to the client and to their needs. And it just grew like nobody's business. And then in 2012, I really, really wanted to run for our local school board. And really, really, really wanted to do it, and went to my husband. He's like, it is not the time. And he's like, really, honey? I mean, we have a 4-year-old, your business is taking off like nobody's business. It's not the time, it's not the time. And I'm like, okay, well, keep praying about it, keep praying about it. And of course, he ended up saying no. And I went, fine, I'll deal, I'll accept no. I don't like it. I don't agree with you, but I love you. And I know that you're the head of our house, and God placed you in this position. And I need to trust that. And so then here comes 2014, and, I now have a 6-year-old. So she's in school full time. She's older, and 2 seats were coming open on the board. And I went to Alan again, and I'm like, really would like to run for school board. And he went, yeah, we're good now. You can run now. And it was, prayerful. It wasn't really just immediate, but I mean, we prayed about it and ran for school board. And so talk about a step of faith. Yes, I've sold bookkeeping services in my business and all that. Well, you run for public office, dude, it's a whole new level of faith. And and then I loved it. I love our local school district. I loved being on the board. And then in 2017 was when my husband got diagnosed with cancer. And I had a ton of people right before he got diagnosed asking me to run for a local county office. And, I quickly was like, no. I have my business. I love what I'm doing. I love the school district. I love being on the school board. No, have no desire. Then he got cancer, and it went from no to, honestly, the answer was hell no, because my focus was purely on my husband and on dealing with cancer. And all throughout his chemo, I continued to be approached by very influential, very, very well-meaning, people that you don't say no to. And I'm like, no, this is not this time. And the whole time, Alan, I would tell him, oh, well, so-and-so asked me about running for this office again. And he's like, tell me why. Tell me why you're called to that. I said, I can't tell you I'm called to that. I don't want to do it. It's a full-time position. I would not be running my business anymore. I don't want to do it. And I can't tell you why I'm called to that at all. And he's like, well, until you can tell me why you're called to it, no, God's called you to school board, no. And we're sitting on the couch his last weekend of chemo, and he was on chemo for Friday to Sunday. And we're sitting there, and he looks over at me, and it's Memorial Weekend. He goes, I really think you need to consider it.
Wow.
And I went, who are you? What did you do with my husband? Has chemo altered your brain that much? I mean, what happened?
Wow.
And from there, we talked about it and really thought about it and really prayed about it. And 2 months later, I announced that I was running for that office. And my condition, talked to my pastor at length about it. And I went to him, and I'm like, what if his cancer comes back? What if this? What if that? And he asked me really hard questions as well. And the response was, Alan, we really felt like I needed to do this. And so, but I was torn as a wife, as a mom. You're looking at that point, I had a 9-year-old and I had a 12-year-old, running for a countywide public office that I knew was going to be a difficult fight. I was running against an incumbent. It was all the perfect storm of, you don't do that. And God just really laid it on our heart. But as we had said in the school board race, we know God called me to run. That doesn't mean he called me to win, but he called me to run. And so the deal I made with Alan was, if his cancer came back anytime before the primary, I was out. Even if filing had already taken place, basically I'm done, I'm out. And God knew the deal that I had made, and God said, ha ha ha, because a month later after the primary, my husband's cancer came back.
Oh.
And so it had been there. It had been there probably 2-3 months, but we didn't know. And so it was literally the very next month after I had won the primary that God revealed to us his cancer.
Wow.
And I said, what do I do now? You know, I've won the primary. I still technically have the general election to run.
Yes.
And I said, oh, no. The deal was if it came back before the primary, you're not dropping out now. I'm like, I don't want to drop out now. I'm conflicted because, you know, we're looking at what they were telling us is that in 5 years, you might not be here. And I still won this race. And he's like, God waited to show us this because you needed to be in this position.
Wow.